Houston, we have a problem. Those words were actual words from the astronauts in 1970 calling down to NASA in Houston, Texas. Houston, we have a problem. That was in 1970. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Happy Tuesday. The sun is coming up right now. What is the problem in Houston? In the inner city of Houston. The inner city of Houston. What is the problem? The problem is massive new increased flooding due to the dilapidated old drainage system. That's the problem here in Houston. This is why when it rains real hard, parts of the city, parts of the inner city of Houston floods. The problem is Houston needs a very serious, massive upgrade in the drainage system. Why does Houston flood more now than it did before? Because Houston is the largest growing big city in the country. Everybody's moving to Houston. And Houston is growing like crazy. So when a city starts to get even bigger, Houston's already huge by itself. So when it becomes more bigger due to a huge population growth, that means they have to build more. Houston is building like crazy. They're putting millions of tons of concrete on the ground to build new buildings, new homes. They're putting millions of tons of concrete into advancing our already super highways here. Houston has more highways than any other city in the country. I think Houston surpassed LA with highways. All that infrastructure, all that concrete being laid over the ground. The problem is, Houston has not done anything at all to their sewer system, their drainage infrastructure. They haven't done anything. They're building like crazy on top of the land, the soil, but they're not doing anything for their drainage system. And this is why Houston floods, people. Houston is a intercoastal city. Houston is 50 feet above sea level. Houston is way above sea level. That's not why Houston floods. This is not New Orleans. New Orleans is way below sea level. All the water from the floods in Houston comes from the sky, people. And they found that out during 2017 in Harvey. When it rained 4 days straight, the infrastructure drainage system was so old, it could not keep up with all that water. And like now, it caused floods inside the inner city. And this problem is going to get worse and worse as the construction continues on. The expanding of concrete and the construction and new buildings and houses and highways continues on. The water is going to keep rising higher when it starts to rain. to solve the problem. They already know. They already know what the problem is. The Corps of Engineers know what the problem is. They knew it during Harvey. They already have, I think, over $1 billion set aside to do this project, infrastructure project. And as a matter of fact, a few days ago, when I was on an errand listening to talk radio, the city of Houston was talking about hiring Elon Musk, his boring company, to add the two large, huge pipes underneath Houston, the two new huge drainage pipes, and tie new drainage pipes, smaller pipes, into those two new lines to solve all the draining issues in Houston. That was a talk. And Elon Musk is one of the subcontractors that is bidding on that new draining project that was supposed to happen 8 years ago. This project was supposed to happen 8 years ago. This new drainage problem in Houston, inside the city. 8 years they've been sitting on it. 8 years. The last mayor we had was a horrible mayor. The last mayor we had for 8 years didn't do anything for the city of Houston. All the billions of dollars that were given by the government, the last mayor of Houston, a lot of corruption was going on. They were still in the money. That's a reality, people. That's a reality. They were still in the money. They didn't steal all the money, but they stole a lot of the money, and they didn't do the new infrastructure drainage system that was supposed to be done right after Harvey. They didn't do it. 8 years, the last mayor didn't do anything but make the city even worse in Houston. So I'm going to say that right now, and everybody knows that. That's a fact. So this project is supposed to be done already. I think it's like a 2-year project. It's supposed to be done already. The new drainage system that was supposed to go into Houston started 8 years ago, should already be done, and we wouldn't be having these problems right now inside the city of Houston. So that's the problem. The infrastructure needs to be upgraded because the city is growing like crazy. All that concrete they're putting down, water can't go through concrete. So it's causing a lot of flooding inside the city of Houston. So the question is, after Harvey, you know the city's not doing their job of keeping the drainage system updated as they continue to build. The question is, are you ready? If you're living inside the city of Houston and we have another severe rain, like we always have, and the city's drainage system can't keep up with draining the water, and your home starts to flood massively, are you ready to get out? Do you have a small boat? Do you have supplies to where you can get out? Because the city of Houston, the political figures have failed you. They haven't done the work with your tax dollars. Houston should not be flooding at all. That's not the issue. The issue is bad politics. You have to be ready to save yourself, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody coming to save you. You have to save yourself. That's the problem that's going on in Houston. I'm going to leave with those words again from those astronauts in 1970 when they called down to NASA in Houston. They said, Houston, we have a problem, and we still do. It's called bad infrastructure drainage system that should have been updated years ago after Harvey. You guys have a nice Tuesday.